All right, guys. Today we are going to be reacting to two reasons why Thomas Sowell would choose Donald Trump. Jump in.
All right, Donald Trump might be a rock star of the Republican Party now, but that does not mean he is a rock star to all Republicans. I want to quote a line from Thomas Sowell, the latest column he has in Town Hall. He's a best-selling author. Wealth, Poverty, and Politics is his latest missive. But in this, he writes, in a country with more than 300 million people, it's remarkable how obsessed the media have become with just one, Donald Trump. What is even more remarkable is that after 6 years of repeated disasters, both domestically and internationally, under a glib egomaniac in the White House, so many potential voters are turning to another glib egomaniac to be his successor.
Your friend, your longtime friend, Walter Williams. Now we come to current politics. The bottom line is that President Donald Trump does not have the personal character that we would want our children to imitate, but, save his misguided international trade policies, has turned out to be a good president. Tom?
I think his policies have been, by and large, policies that were far better than that of previous Democratic or Republican administrations.
So
now, if Trump wins, imagine if he eliminates income tax, eliminate the taxes on Social Security, he will become one of the biggest libertarians, if you ask me. Because those are very libertarian policies. So I would like to know Thomas Sowell's opinion afterward.
I go by the consequences.
Okay.
I mean, he hasn't produced the right rhetoric, but the fact is that unemployment among low-income people, Black, Hispanic included, is at a level that is far lower than it's been in decades. The economy is booming in a way that no one had predicted. People like Paul Krugman was saying that when Trump gets in, the economy is going to tank. No, the economy hit new highs.
All right.
But there are so many people among the intelligentsia, especially, who are absolutely immune to facts. It's as if they took their anti-fact shots every year, and the facts will just not affect them.
All right. One of the themes in Wealth, Poverty, and Politics, isolation. You've already spoken a little bit about geography. Isolation. You do this a dozen different times. You take different aspects of reality, economic reality, and explain how they affect economic development. So but of course we only have time for a few, but here, isolation. Quote, isolation is a recurring factor in poverty and backwardness around the world, close quote. And you note
I really need to read Thomas Sowell. I really need to. He's just so good, man. Oh, I'll feel guilty if in my lifetime I don't read more than 5 books from him. I'll feel guilty.
People who live in mountains, Afghanistan, Appalachia, you couldn't ask for more separated mountain communities, and yet you see much the same kind of backwardness. Isolation per se leading to backwardness. Explain that.
Well, I don't so much explain it as I simply give enormous numbers of examples of it. The mountain people being one, people who are living in isolated islands like the Canary Islands. Back in the 15th century, when the Spaniards conquered the Canary Islands, they found the people there living as people had lived in the Stone Ages.
Wow.
In Australia, very similar things when the British arrived there in the late 18th century. They found the Australian Aborigines living again as people had lived elsewhere in the Stone Ages.
Right.
You find there are enclaves of groups that are isolated from what other groups are doing. That you find the same thing: socially isolated, politically isolated, for whatever reason. What it suggests to me is that an individual really can do very little without a great number of other things, including what he learns from other human beings. And if you have some group of 3,000...
He only comes, folks, now with the internet, you can literally be isolated, right? And still have the information in front of you to do something about it. 1,000
or 2,000 living in some mountain village, whether in Italy or Kashmir, wherever, you're not going to find them keeping abreast of people who are living in port cities and in touch with the whole rest of the human race.
Wow.
Okay, so trade is important?
Yes.
Super important.
Right. Here's another, I offer you another luminary from the present day, Donald Trump. Quote, we're going to build the wall, we're going to stop illegal immigration, it's going to end, close quote. Now, a couple issues are tangled up there. One is building the wall. Is that in and of itself something of which we should be suspicious, that he wants to wall off the United States from the kind of, that he wants us to become more isolated? He wants to limit?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Or is that unfair to Donald Trump?
I haven't given a lot of thought about being fair to Donald Trump. But no, if we're in touch with 99% of the human race,
Yeah.
the fact that we're not in touch with a handful of people relative to the world's population who are trying to come across the southern border doesn't make us isolated.
Yeah, good point. Good point. It's just protecting the border. It's simple as that. And again, we're not in the position where we're not touching ourselves with we're not touching with other countries. No, we are. It's just a matter of making sure that we can protect our border. That's simply what it is. It's simply what it is. Dr. Sowell acknowledged Trump positives and started he was wrong about him years ago. That one statement, I was wrong. It's why Dr. Sowell will forever have my trust and respect. Yeah, because he can recognize, when something was wrong. Like, interesting they had to say that, man. Shout out to the Thomas Sowell channel. These channels are so important. And sometimes I just forget that, top politics every 4 years is for now. I can understand that. However, this is knowledge, and knowledge has to be kept, right? Today's fight in politics, right? It's gonna be today's fight, right? However, I have to remind myself that I have to do my due diligence as an American and just make sure I can just move the needle when it comes down to knowledge and help other people to reach when it comes down to knowledge, right? Let me see. Thomas Sowell is the living proof of an old adage. It's better to be rebuked by a wise man than to be deceived by the flattery of fools. Man, I go by the consequences. Yeah, I'm not voting for Trump to be my pastor friend. I want him to be my strong president. Yeah, something else is that people do confuse the fact that you're voting for a president. You're not voting for mama and daddy. You're voting for a guy that has to be he has to meet the same energy to a lot of different people, right? So that's that. Interesting. College educated white middle-aged woman, well, who's probably voting for Trump. And I never understood that. How is it that you're college educated, you're voting for these weird policies? It has to be indoctrination. There's no way you can simply go in college and be that naive about things. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. See you in the next one.